I want to wrap up this hour by talking about exactly what ESG scores are. And so there is a tweet from DC Drano. We talk about DC Drano kind of a lot. He's another conservative activist that I think he posted about this that summarizes what ESG scores are and why you have companies that are going so woke. I think this explains it better than I ever could. And so let's watch this video on YouTube and we're going to listen to it on the radio. This guy explaining exactly what these ESG scores are and why these companies are going woke.
Why? There's 3 initiatives that are put down through the World Economic Forum. One is called CEI, one is called ESG, and one is called DEI. These initiatives are put down as social initiatives from the World Economic Forum, the most powerful people on the planet, through the banks to the big corporations. These corporations, unlike my business, actually depend on that financing 100%. So if they don't do the things that these 3 initiatives, the CEI, ESG, and the DEI say, they actually lose their funding. So they can't operate their business. So you say, well, aren't these people smart enough to understand why they're destroying their business? They can't not do it. Because if they don't do it, they won't get their funding. So they can't operate. So they have no choice but to do it. And then they drive their business into the dirt. And here's why that's happening. Because the people who run these companies, the officers of the companies, are not the founders of the companies. These are people that are many generations removed and many degrees of caring about the actual brand removed. All right. So these people are college graduates who think they know a whole bunch of stuff because they have an advanced degree, and they are making decisions that are, basically about the money and thinking that eventually people will adopt this and it will stop. But it's not going to stop, and it's not supposed to stop. This is what people are failing to realize. What's happening is we are dealing with a communist insurgency that is undermining the values and the identity of the American public. What they are doing is they are intentionally creating a scenario where the American people rejecting this initiative is actually hurting iconic American brands that remove much of the American identity. So when you name these companies off.
So there's more on with that as well. But I want to cut it off there because he starts off by saying the World Economic Forum. A lot of this is from the World Economic Forum. There's CIS, ESG, and DEI. So I need to look into a little bit more what CIS is, but ESG is environmental social governance. And then DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion. DEI is what you have shoved into your schools. That's what pushes the idea that you need to have like critical race theory. It's what it says. You need to have a certain number of teachers that are of this ethnicity. You need to have a certain amount of enrolled students that are of these different identity backgrounds, everything like that. That's DEI, and it's being shoved into your schools. Well, in the world of corporatism, ESG is environmental social governance. A lot of times we do hear about things. We do hear about ESG in terms of the environmental aspect. A lot of times when you have companies that are pushing how sustainable they are, or how buying their product will help fight global warming or anything like that, climate change. You hear a lot about that. And for the most part, that doesn't necessarily get conservatives as ticked off because while we might not necessarily all believe in some of the climate change narrative and the climate change extremism that says like the world's going to die in 12 years and all that kind of crap that AOC and your radical leftists put out, we do agree with the general idea of ensuring that our earth is clean. We want clean air, we want clean water, everything like that. And so that's why we don't usually complain about the environmental part of it. However, the social and the governance pushes this gender ideology, and it pushes and it pushes it onto our children, like in Target. And I got a great comment in here. Black Rock, Vanguard, and other giant investment firms back these ESG credit scores for companies. So you want to know why your kids are being targeted by Target? And why if you drink Bud Light, you're now gay? That's a joke, by the way. It's because the New World Order, the World Economic Forum, and their funders, BlackRock and Vanguard, are paying for it. So boycott, everybody. Make it so that they lose more than they'd make. Make it so that they'll lose more than they make. Everybody, we're going to be back in the second hour. I'm going to be talking a